Tina with the Noah Barfield here, and this is Elizabeth, my girlfriend.
Hello.
And welcome to Writer's Corner. Today we'll be doing something, we'll be going back to what I used to do, writing tips. And we'll be talking about writing relationships in this one. Since I had my perfect little girlfriend here, I figured this would be a great opportunity to do so. So we'll be talking about a few of the stages of relationships and determining whether they're going to be abusive or manipulative or not, and some key components on tips on how to do just that. Oh, and we'll also be adding a bunch of tattoos and stuff to the both of us to make us look super edgy and metal. And we're back. We had decided to not do the masks anymore and just to do all the tattoos at once. We used the Edgar Allan Poe temporary tattoos. They're pretty cool. I've had them for a few years whenever I got them at the Edgar Allan Poe Museum. So we just tattooed ourselves up. One right here, one on the back of her neck right there, Mask of Red Death. I have mine all over my arms, my neck, my face, and then I have it on my side here, and then on my chest. While we give you tips on writing relationships and finding out what looks to be an abusive one and all that, Elizabeth is going to put some eyeliner on me, and then we're going to go see Star Wars 8, so, whoo, yay!
You ready?
Oh man, that's an ominous sound. Okay, so we have to do tips about flirting first, like initial contact basically. So whenever I write a character that's flirting, I commonly make them a little bit arrogant, pretty obvious, and I make them flirt how I commonly do. I'm very blatant about what I want, you know, and the goal is to make the other person blush. So if you were to write a character that's flirting, how would you flirt?
I am not good at flirting. I stare at people awkwardly. I say things. One time I screwed up so bad before I met Noah that I actually told somebody I have to go now, my planet needs me, in a deadpan face. So usually I just have to hope that they'll like my weirdness and that I'll find something in common.
So what would be the internal monologue of a character who couldn't flirt like that?
Somebody who couldn't flirt. Oh no, I'm screwing it up. Oh no, I really like this person. Oh no, I'm gonna die alone, aren't I?
At least I have my books. So what would you say is one thing to avoid when writing a character if you're going for realism, if you have somebody who can't flirt?
Don't make everything work initially. Maybe have them screw up a few times.
Okay. And for me, my tip would be if you're trying to write it realistically, like Elizabeth said, don't have it work all the time, but that you have a great contrast going.
Ready for the bottom?
I hate the bottom. Whenever guys in general, in my opinion, go to flirt, they don't really worry about a lot of different things. Like whenever I flirt with people, for one, I don't actively consciously make that effort. I'm like, okay, I like this person or how they look or how they act, so I'm going to try and get to know them better. Does my hair look okay? Do I smell? Alright, that's good. What were some things that were like that you worry about whenever you like somebody and you want to make a good impression?
Everything. Am I talking too much? Am I talking not enough? Why am I staring at them so much? I don't know what to say anymore. Things like, why did I say that? What's wrong with me?
So things like, oh my god. Oh my god.
You probably don't want to put makeup on them.
Yeah.
Either. Like, don't
First
just
thing.
walk up.
Don't do that first thing.
It's a terrible idea.
So that is something whenever it comes to flirting, guys. But flirting is just the initial contact. After that, you can basically go one of two ways. You can either have a person who is going to be manipulative and who is going to kind of have an abusive relationship, or you have a character who's not going to do that, and then we will move on to the later parts. So what would you say are some key things to look for whenever writing an abusive relationship? Like what would make a relationship, like, give some red flags.
Okay, well think about what you would not want happening in a relationship, how you would not like to be treated, but also it has to be realistic. The reason why people stay in abusive relationships is because it's not bad all the time. So you have to also give them some happy moments, but then balance those out with some really bad red flag moments that say like this is not okay.
Like backhanded compliments.
Yeah, like backhanded compliments.
Or not wanting them to have friends.
Yeah.
You know, a backhanded compliment is like, wow, I'm so glad you found a dress in your size. It looks great. You know, something like that. Whenever you know they struggle with their weight. Like Elizabeth said, an abusive relationship does have positive traits to it, so you need to write those in there as well. And the thing is, the person or the people in them won't think that it's an abusive relationship.
Or they might suspect it, but it's kind of thoughts that are pushed away until they finally have their final straw, which is when you have to decide whether you want that character to leave and start over to better things, or whether you want them to just be beaten down and stay in it.
They're constantly rationalizing
because you have
the
to
abuse.
rationalize it, like have somebody thinking like, oh, well, I am fat, I should lose weight, and not like that's not a nice thing for somebody to say to me.
A good thing to clue your readers in if this is going to be an abusive relationship is to make the character who's like pursuing your character a little too perfect, you know?
Yeah, initially, and then you have to have that slow decline into the, oh my god, what have I gotten myself into? This person is awful.
Yeah. If it's too good, if it looks too good to be true in your novel, it probably should be. But if they're not in an abusive relationship, then you move on to the sustaining relationship part, where like flirting worked good, you know, it went well, the dates went okay. She ended up liking his arrogance, and he learned not to be manipulative and mean.
Yeah,
you know,
or the other way around, shy person gets to be a little less shy, more comfortable. So there's got to be
never
some
happened
kind
in
of
the history of the universe ever.
Well, you know, it's got to be like a character progression chart. You just have to couple it with two people, so there is some kind of story arc, but focused upon these two people.
And you have to remember that whenever you're writing a relationship, it's a subplot, so it follows all the same developments of a normal story arc, but you also have to keep in mind that the character development is now joined together, so whatever this character does now affects this other character. Unless they're keeping certain aspects of their lives hidden in the relationship, in which case that's a whole other can of worms that we're not really gonna get into. I don't know. You can't, whenever you do long distance, you can't really afford to have like secrets and everything, since communication is so important. So I don't really have experience in hiding things. Neither of us do. We basically tell each other everything.
My life's not that exciting.
Yeah, but I still make her tell me like what she ate for breakfast and all of that.
I had a piece of toast, and then I brushed my teeth, and then I went grocery shopping. Yeah, he knows it all.
Yeah. And notice she said grocery instead of grocery.
Grocery?
Yeah. It's the New England in her.
I guess so.
Sit up straight. Yes, that is sitting up straight. Congratulations on it. Alright. She has awful posture. Comes from being a writer and an artist and just, yes, my perfect creations. And so I just get to be like the just like that one Offspring song. Dance, dance, never had a chance. I normally swear and I didn't. You're welcome. I'm like puppet master, 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 puppet support, master. Sorry. Anyway, sustaining a relationship. Once you've decided that it's not abusive and that these characters are clicking, you have to actually make the relationship go somewhere, and you have to have it to be cute. So in my opinion, you need at least 2 struggles in the book with your relationship. Once you've actually established the relationship, you need to have at least 2 moments where the relationship is in possible jeopardy, in my opinion.
Yeah, because then it's not realistic if they don't fight. Like, there's something wrong with you, like, if you don't argue or fight at all.
We have fought a few times.
A few times. I mean, nothing like too bad, but
yeah, but
it's not normal to just
not fight we disagree
whatsoever.
On some things, you know. I think the only thing recently that we've disagreed on has been the net neutrality thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm not gonna get into that, and I'm gonna open up that can of worms again.
I don't like paying for things. That's it.
But
Extra things.
basically, we're both like very, very into like individual liberty. But mine extends to like a corporate liberty,
Mine doesn't. So
and
much.
hers is like but I don't want those corporations having to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like I don't want to either, but I have like a set of ethics that I hold to, and she's like, yeah, but my ethics pertain to me and the people that I love, which is really admirable and really nice.
And memes. It was mostly about the memes.
Yeah, yeah. Doesn't want to have to pay extra for all the memes.
Exactly.
I don't want to have to pay. I don't want Dat Boy's Unicycle to be made out of money.
Exactly. No, I don't want to see that.
You know, but that was talked about rationally, and you know, even in that instance, I was like, I agree with everything that you're saying. You know, it's just my moral code here doesn't allow me to like believe that. You know, same thing whenever we talk like religious people. You know, I'm like, I understand everything that you're saying. I just don't agree or believe it.
Yeah.
It's like, but I respect your wishes. There's a lot of different types of conflicts in the relationship. Some are personal that spill out. Some are external conflicts that kind of creep their way in. And some are just mismatches in the relationship itself.
Yeah.
So that's pretty easy to ascertain. What would you say is probably the most devastating, or actually most devastating, most easily rectifiable conflicts that happen in relationships?
Okay, most easily rectifiable is things like, did you eat my leftover pasta? Yeah, I told you not to eat it. I wrote my name on it, but I was hungry.
So,
well, you ate it, and now I'm mad at you. That's easily
so like a common external mistake, you know, like a misunderstanding is the most easily rectifiable. The most devastating, in my opinion, is probably an internal conflict that spills over into the relationship because half of the party didn't contribute to that.
Yeah, so
you know?
Something like keeping a really dark secret that can affect somebody, like cheating on somebody, you know, or if you want to go really dark, murdering somebody that you want to go Edgar Allan Poe on it. About, you know, like, oh hey, I backed over your dog in the driveway, sorry about that. Or it was, hey, sorry, I backed over your mother in the driveway.
They both had it coming. We've talked about this. They both had it coming.
I beeped a couple times. What do you want me to do?
She was deaf. That's supposed to phase me. My blinkers work. You know, so, you know, something like that where an internal conflict spills over because half of the party doesn't think that they're at fault for it because like this was your problem and now it's my problem. And this can lead to an even greater issue where the characters like think that they're separate entities, but they don't realize that whatever one person does affect the other person does. And that's commonly a childish thing. So if you're writing like young adult literature, that's a really easy, really like easy, really common. 14-year-old relationship. Yeah, it's a really easy conflict to write because it's still an immature thing. So we still do that sometimes. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. There's a lot of rambling and a lot of tips thrown here and there. You guys can organize them if you want. So if this is part 1, just wait until part 2 comes out. It should be in a few days. Yeah.